Sure. Thanks, Ben. And thanks again to all of you guys for joining us, especially, for you guys that are covering the basketball games. They covered them yesterday. I know this is a quick turnaround, so appreciate your interest in the football program. And I know this, we're excited and grateful to have spring football this year. Obviously last season it hurt losing spring football, and it gives us even a greater appreciation, you know, kind of for these opportunities to be out on the field together as we continue to try to build this program and develop our roster. These 15 practices will be really critical for us in our efforts to do just that. Obviously, today is practice number one. We'll practice every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, which for us is the ideal schedule, especially since, there's a dead period. So we're not able to go out on the road and do a lot of recruiting. It'll really give us time in between each practice to make corrections, to do installs, to recover. And so, it's an ideal practice format for us to go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, which typically Saturday will be a scrimmage day, but to have the days in between for meetings and corrections and install really should help this team, which still is a fairly young team, be able to take the next step. We're coming off a strong winter workout period, which we call it our Terp Time program, which is 7 weeks of intense mental and physical toughness preparation. It's what we call, which allows us to kind of develop a callus that helps get us through a long season, which we're expecting. Just like everyone else in the country, we're playing catch up in that, getting our players in a peak football shape, with us not playing a full schedule last year and not being and having the December opportunities that typically come with playing a full schedule. We're playing a little bit of catch up, and I feel like we've done a really good job. Our strength and conditioning staff has done a great job of being organized and really getting our players to understand where we need to be from a mental and physical toughness standpoint. As I said, at the end of the recruiting cycle, really excited about our coaching staff. Most of the new additions are coaches that I'm very familiar with and have had strong past relationships with, and that always helps for a seamless transition. And with Dan, Brian, and then obviously Coach Zook, all three of those guys are guys that I've worked with and have a great amount of respect for, not just for their football acumen, but also for them as people and what they'll bring and add to our philosophies, which, as I've said before, what we do on offense, defense, and special teams won't change regardless of who we bring in. They will be able to add to our packages and put their personalities on it. And that's what I expect all three of these guys to do in each of their respective fields. Our roster is really starting to take shape here heading into year three. We've recruited kids that fit the mold and have had the success on while also developing players once they get here. And I feel like our staff has done and will continue to do a really good job of that. We've seen improvement in the talent level across the board. When you have the ability to create competition at each and every position, I think that is what makes us better. And our players have embraced that. And so we're excited with the spring to start identifying who the playmakers will be for us on offense, defense, and as Coach Zook likes to call it, we-fence, which is our special teams. We're also starting to identify who the leaders for the 21 season is. Each year we turn the page on a season. Last year is the past, and so we begin a new chapter for Maryland football with each season, and that's exactly what the start of spring allows us to do. As we start identifying playmakers and leaders that we feel will be the people that help us have the type of season we want to have. Like I said, I also am happy with our culture and the chemistry of our team. These guys spend a lot of time together because they can't necessarily go out and be with their friends due to a lot of the shutdown from the pandemic. And so we, having spent a lot of time with each other and especially going through our Terp Time program has really forged a brotherhood amongst our team where I really feel when you talk about family and you talk about team, I'm starting to see the culture take root and from that aspect. It's been a positive effect on our team in terms of just the camaraderie of pushing through some tough times And we got a bunch of guys that want to play for the guys next to them. And I think that's really important when you talk about building a brotherhood. And that's what we're going to need to have a successful team. So sorry for the long opening. I missed you guys so much. I just wanted to keep talking, but I guess I'll open it up for questions for you guys.
Thank you, Coach. Reminder that if you're going to have a question for Coach, to please send me a chat. We'll get started with Alif Kareem today.
Coach, appreciate all the all the words. Obviously, sense the excitement for the season ahead, and you kind of touched upon it, that you have this opportunity for spring to sort of make up or figure out who the team looks like in the start of next season. You had incredible buzz coming into this season. How confident are you that the ceiling for this team is as high as it can be?
I don't think the ceiling is as high as it can be. I've always thought that there is an unlimited ceiling here at Maryland. And so I just feel like going into year 3, when we talk about taking the next step as a program, I feel very confident that we'll take the next step, and that it'll move us in the positive direction. It'll move us in the direction that everybody that loves Maryland football would want to see out of it. And as I said, it's a slow process. It's been hard. It's been tough. We've had to face a lot of adversity. There's been a ton of change, which is it's what college, the landscape of college athletics looks like now. But I feel good about how we've navigated it as a staff and as a program and as a team. And so I am excited because I really like this team in terms of the camaraderie, going through the third Turk time program that since I've been here, and just seeing how they've attacked it, because, this time of year is the toughest part of our program. It's where we really get after them mentally and physically, and they responded the right kind of way, in the way that you would have expected. And so that's what leads me to believe that, as I like to say, the best is ahead for our program, and excited to take the next step with this spring.
We'll go to Emily Giambavo next.
Hey, Mike.
Emily?
With having the Michael Locksley, Dan Enos, and a quarterback named Tagovailoa, obviously the comparisons are going to be there from what you guys did at Alabama. Do you like that, or do you think, hey, we're at Maryland now, this is new, or do you want to try to recreate everything you accomplished there?
I'm a big believer that success leaves clues. I say this all the time. I know you're tired of hearing me say it, cliche-ish, but I'm a big believer that it does leave clues, and that if you follow some of the blueprint, not shying away from the experience I gained or the things that we accomplished at Alabama, but we're in year 3 here at Maryland. And so the expectation for me is that we start building some of these same type of successes and memories here at Maryland. And obviously my relationship and working with Dan during what I thought was the highlight of my career, and I think was the catalyst for me being able to come back home, helps with that transition. And it has made it really easy because of how we work together. And so, again, not shying away from the Alabama experience. I can't get rid of Alabama, whether it's the men's basketball, women's basketball, and now this. So, but no, I'm excited about it. This Tagovailoa is his own man. Dan Enos as the coordinator, compared to him being the quarterback coach, he'll be able to put his personality on it as a play caller. And then I'm just looking forward to helping be a added voice or an added coach in the mix here to help make sure that it continues to move in the right direction for all of us.
And kind of how seamless was his transition, getting familiar with the offense you guys have now? Like, I'd imagine it's evolved a good bit in the last few years, but how did that process go for him?
It was really seamless, because we went back and, we had changed some terminology in an effort to make, Scotty's transition easy for him. But for me, the terminology and some of the familiar words that even Leah himself was used to from what I had done before, going back to some of that terminology, I think will make it easier for all 3 of us, as well as our offense, because they've had a great understanding. And it wasn't a bunch of change, but I think it made it a little easier for all, the important pieces of it, with, the quarterback, the offensive coordinator, and the head coach.
We'll go to Wes Brown.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, last season was sort of, marred by COVID. You guys lost last spring. Is there maybe a sense of normalcy being able to, focus a little bit more on football this time around now that testing isn't new and all that kind of stuff?
It's still not a normalcy, man. I still am not just 100% used to just not being able to be as much around our team as we normally are allowed to do. For instance, to watch the basketball games together and to do stuff together. We're still under COVID protocols. We're still following the guidelines of our local health authorities. And so it's still a little different, but I can tell you, it sure feels good to know that we're going to go out and have an opportunity to practice, which to me, you get into this business as a coach. These are the days you love, just being able to go out on the grass and really coach players, take them where they can't take themselves, and to have the opportunity that this year, after losing it, I think, like I said in my opening statements, you gain a greater appreciation for being able to have these opportunities.
We'll go to Ed Lee.
Mike, at the end of last season, you had mentioned how one of the things to continue continuity was keeping the coaching staff intact. Obviously, guys left and you had to replace them, but do you worry about, with all the changes, that sort of being disruptive to that sense of cohesion?
No, not at all. And, again, one of the things I learned from my prior stop and the prior experience, we're going to lose coaches and we're going to lose players. That is the landscape of college athletics now. I mean, players are going to have opportunities to leave with the new transfer rules and all the stuff that are where they've gained tremendous advantages to being able to do what's best for them, which I think they deserve those opportunities. And again, when you hire good coaches, you're going to lose some good coaches, and we've done just that. But the thing that I learned, and it's great that having the opportunity to be behind the wall there under Coach Saban was, the philosophy never changed of what we did on offense. You could add to it. You can bring and put some new things and wrinkles in it. But who we are on offense, defense, and special teams has not and will not change under my tenure. Will it improve? Of course. We're going to always work to self-scout and study what we do and make it better. But philosophically, like I said, even terminology-wise, guys aren't going to come in and one guy changes the playbook and 60 guys have to learn his way. I think it's easier when the one guy coming in learns what these other 60 already know, and then he translates his language into their language, and it becomes a easy transition. And that's what we've done. Obviously with the special teams or the we-fence that Coach Zook likes to use terminology of, he's been around and been a part of it for the last 2 years as an analyst for me. And so that there's nothing new there. On the defensive side of the ball, I really like the way we finished playing defense last season, and that philosophical decision that we made on how we want to play defense is etched in stone. And Coach Stewart, along with Brian Williams, who's also now serves as our co-defensive coordinator, have worked really well together and have been able to keep the genesis of what we do and how we call it, so that it hasn't been a lot of new learning for the defensive guys. And then on the offensive side, like I said, some slight terminology change in how I was used to calling some things, and going back to it, I think allows me to help the offense a lot more and be a lot more involved, because it's the language that I'm used to, that I've used to being having used. So yeah, I think the philosophy, keeping it that the same, is the critical piece in making sure that you don't disrupt the learning or the development of your team. And we've done just that.
With regards to the defense, what are your expectations with how both Bryans will work with the defense?
Yeah, I mean, the structure of who we are, a 3-4 front that's very multiple, and that we can become a 4-down front when and if we choose to. We're always going to have some the type of corners and DBs that we've been able to recruit, and the way we played, the last 4 games of last season after the second half of Minnesota. We showed that we have the ability to line up and play man coverage and cover people, so those are the things that I thought we did well, and we'll continue to do those things and make a point of emphasis as we continue to develop our young players there on the defensive side.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll go to Scott Abraham.
Locks, good to see you as always. Entering year 3 in your tenure as head coach of Maryland, any extra importance going into 2021 to kind of see growth, improvement in this program, compete for conference championships, get a good bowl game, and any kind of, do you view 2021 as almost like a big year for kind of your program?
I mean, I view it as year 3 for us. It's the next step year. Every year you're going to hear me talk about taking the next step. Obviously, we've now had the ability to bring in 3 recruiting classes. The first class, obviously, we didn't bring a full one in, and we got in a little late. But feel really good about the where the team is and how the culture has been developed and the chemistry and the brotherhood, which are all key components. As much as we all like to think it's all about scoring points and stopping it, I think you do that when you have the right kind of culture around your building. And I feel good about the team. Even the players that were here when I got here that I inherited, after 3 years, kind of like being a stepdad, you kind of get used to the guy, with the t-shirt on, walking around the house and saying, hey, okay, I guess he is a good guy. And so, I feel like we're in a good position, a good space mentally as a team, which I think will allow us to go out and be the type of team that we want to be. As far as winning, as you guys know, I always say, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about winning or winning championships. What we want to do is win today. We want to win, get better with each day we have the opportunity to. And then at the end of it, we'll stack it up and see how we did. And that's kind of the philosophy we'll have. And we maintain, we're not school board watchers. We're not teams. We have goals. Yeah, we have goals. Our goals this spring are to identify who our playmakers are and also who the leaders will emerge to be for us as we head into the 21 season. And that's the important part about spring football. And this is where you earn a spot. I mean, guys, just because you were a starter last year doesn't mean that you'll guarantee to be a starter this year, because of the way we're going to recruit. We're going to try to recruit the best players we can to create competition, and the best man will win and earn the opportunity.
Thanks, Locks.
Thank you, Scott.
We'll go to Bruce Posner.
Hey, Locks, it's great to see you again.
Bruce, what's up, man?
A couple questions for you, kind of COVID related. Have the coaches all been vaccinated yet? Is that an immediate goal so that you can go through the season without worrying about that factor of it? And also, you got a lot of freshmen coming in who didn't play football for a year. What's your process going to be to incorporate them in, more physically than anything else? And how much have they been, affected by that?
Yeah, to answer your first question, one, as I've said before with this COVID and positive test, and I can tell you that I've gotten both my shots so that people know that I can talk about what Coach Locks has done, and I've got the Pfizer vaccine in me. I'm raring and roaring to go. I'm good to go. As far as our other coaches, you're going to have to ask those guys. I don't want them to sue me for giving up their personal business and what they've done or decided to do or not do. But I can tell you that we're going to continue to follow the protocols that athletic department, Prince George's County, Maryland, the state of Maryland puts in place to ensure that we do our part to continue to try to mitigate it. As far as the high school players, we're fortunate, Bruce, because most of our guys ended up playing. I mean, we recruited a bunch of guys from the state of Florida that played a season. It may be not a whole season, but played football. The guys that didn't come early that are up in this area are starting to play games or have played some games here. And then even, some of the guys from New Jersey and Pennsylvania that we brought in were able to get some games in. So we didn't have very many that didn't play. Now, did they play full seasons? No. And again, that's why we're playing a little bit of catch up in terms of, we want these 15 practices that we're going to get here are going to be really important for the young guys that we're bringing in. And, even the players that played last year that really, guys like Tarheeb and Rakim who played 5 games as opposed to playing 12. I mean, we want to be able to totally maximize the opportunities this spring and help with the development of our team, because we're still a young team going into year 3.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, for our final one today, we'll go to Henry Malone.
Hey, Coach. I think you have a couple guys who are a little bit banged up right now. If you could just provide an update on who some of those guys are and what their sort of timeline is.
I knew that you would ask me that, and unfortunately, I didn't bring my injury sheet with me. We had some, I may have some of it here. We did have a few guys that had some off season, but for the most part, instead of having to go down each one individually, a lot of them will be in some non-contact situations. I know, we had a couple guys, Jacorian Bennett and Rakim Jarrett, both had wrist surgery and have been practicing, and we're gonna keep them non-contact through the spring. Penny Boone and Frankie Burgess both had some type of shoulder surgeries in the off season, and they've been here doing the off season workout stuff, and we'll continue to protect them in the non-contact part of what we can do, but still try to get as much work as we can. So, I mean, that's a generalization of where we are. I feel like we're really in a good place health wise, with where we are with the end of the season surgeries that we typically have. And so, we'll see kind of how these guys move and operate this spring, and we'll continue to work to get better.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you, guys.